Good morning. My name is Sean, your lovely host for Monday, right? Giving you some energy. So today's subject again is perception. How are you viewing things? How are you looking at the world? How are you solving problems, right? And one thing he said in it is that like sometimes we look at the problem in us and not external. And when we change that perception that the problem is external and on the piece of paper, for example, that he set, then we start to look at the problem differently and can solve things differently. Something as simple as looking at a problem upside down, sometimes, again, our perception changes because, like he said, our mind is not rigid, it is malleable. Malleable meaning it can move, it can shift, it can bend shape. So don't be afraid to change your mind about something. Don't be afraid to look at things different. Look, there's been times, look, let's be honest, right? Like we've worked in a place before and sometimes we look at somebody and be like, "Man, he's an a-hole." Right? But then when we get to know somebody, when we sit down with somebody, when we displace somebody in a different environment, we're like, oh man, he's a really great dude. That's a really great girl. They're really nice, right? We change our perception, but there's a couple of factors that determine that perception, and it could be environment, it could be our memories, it could be our experiences, right? Different things shape our perception. So it's okay to change your mind and it's okay to view things differently. And we don't have to view the same thing the same way every day. It's okay. It's just like food, right? Like a couple of years ago, I really hated bananas. And then one day, I just love bananas, right? And it's okay. Somebody may judge me for it, but you can't take other people's views, right? And let that get in you. You really have to stay strong in your views and what you believe in. And that's what we're here to do, right? We're here to open your mind. You don't have to, and I always, some conversations with some people who jump on here, always tell them, like, you don't have to take all my views in, right? Or you don't have to believe all my views or my perception. But this is what I believe. This is what I think. We come to the table, we discuss things together, and see how, either we can bend our will, view things differently, see how we can solve problems. It's like asking somebody for advice, right? We ask people for advice because they have a different way of viewing things, and that's okay, and that's good. So before I get to the text that I've written down, just one thing on perception, because this is like one of my favorite stories, and it's real quick. So it was this old man, this father, and his two sons. And the father had this business, and the sons, close in age, were fighting to see who's gonna take over the business. Who's gonna take over the business, right? So the father said, okay, stop fighting. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put you to a test. And whoever passes this test gets the business. They was like, all right, perfect. What's the test? So the test the father said is, I'm gonna put you on an island and you have to sell the locals shoes. They was like, okay, that sounds easy. So the first son goes, he comes back, he's like, I couldn't sell no shoes. The second oh, and the second son comes back and he sold shoes. And then the father sat down with both of the sons and he goes, all right, son one, why you couldn't sell shoes? He was like, well, father, when I went over there, the islanders had nothing on their feet. So how can I sell them shoes if they never wore shoes before? Right? Then he looks at son number two and he goes, son, how were you able to sell shoes? And he said, father, they had nothing on their feet. So I seen that they needed shoes. And he built, he sold the islander shoes. And that's the type of perception that people have, right? Some people look at it as, well, they don't need it because they don't wear it. And some people look at it and say, hey, they don't wear it, so they may need it, right? So that's the different perception that we're going in and the way we're looking at different things. Some people see opportunities in things and some people don't. Some people look at $1 million as being too big, so we never reach it. And some people look at it as being very small and able to reach it, right? So that's the same thing. And I believe, and I take this from Chris, right? No credit, but he says stop looking at problems so big. Look at it as very small and solve it, because the problem does not get easier. We get stronger, right? He says that every week, constantly. The problem, the situations, life, right? Life does not get easier. We get stronger. So it's the same with that perception. So now this brings me down to our text of how do we change our perception, right? So I wrote some things down, right? Some things may pertain to you, some things may. So hopefully that you can pick up one or two things you can share with your, I mean, well, not share, but take for yourself and maybe share with others. So this is what um, I've written down for all you guys today. Changing one's perception or the way you look at things can lead to personal growth and a more positive outlook on life. Just open that up because that's why we're here. But one of the reasons why we're here on the morning mindset calls, and this is why we gave everybody an extra day as well on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, because we wanted to keep on building um, with you, for you, and support you. So the number one, no order, but number one is practice mindfulness. Mindfulness involves being present in the moment and observing your thoughts and feelings without judgment. It can help you become more aware of your thought patterns and make it easier to change them, right? Because sometimes, and I know we hear this a lot, is that sometimes we react versus think about it, right? Think about what I'm about to do versus just do it and then we think about it. So just practice, you know, recognizing your feelings, recognizing your thoughts, and without judgment, meaning don't be so hard on yourself, right? And then know that you can change. The second thing is challenge your negative thoughts. When you catch yourself thinking negatively, consciously challenge those thoughts. Ask yourself if they are based on facts or assumptions and try to find a more balanced perspectives. Number three, seek different perspectives. This is like I was saying earlier, right? We ask for advice because we're seeking a different perspective. Talk to people with different viewpoints or from diverse backgrounds. This can broaden your understanding and help you see issues from multiple angles. And I will say this real quick, ladies and gentlemen, too. Like you see Carlene comes on, right? You seen Chris comes on. We we do business together, we talk, we counsel with each other, right? And we do have different viewpoints on something. There's some things I don't agree with Chris, some things Chris may not agree with me, but it's okay because the things we do agree on, right? We know where we're going and we're not combative. We agree to disagree, and that's okay. Or we come to, again, we have a problem, we want to try things out, right? He's my mentor as well. So I look at things and take what he has learned and experience. So that's a different perspective too. Like, who's more seasoned than you in a certain area? Number four, practice gratitude. Regularly take time to appreciate the positive aspects of your life. This can shift your focus from what's lacking to what you have. Every morning I come on here, if you one of the early birds, first 2, 3 minutes, I thank everybody who comes on the call. Right? Practicing gratitude. The first thing when I wake up, me personally, I pray. I thank God for another morning, another breath, my health. Just practicing gratitude for every day and every moment. Number five, limit negative inputs. Be mindful of the media you consume and the people you surround yourself with. Limit exposure to negative news and toxic individuals who bring you down. Ladies and gentlemen, I will say sometimes that's family too. So limit it, right? Or just tell them, listen, we can't talk about, let's talk about the future. Let's talk about getting money. Or let's just talk about good things, right? Some people are on gossip or As we say in Spanish, bonchicheras, right? Just want to talk. Number six, set realistic expectations. Unrealistic expectations can lead to disappointment. Try to set achievable goals and understand that not everything will go perfectly, right? Keep the promises you say to yourself. If I'm going to do 10 push ups a day, keep that promise to yourself. That's another thing. That's a perception breaker, right? Sometimes we don't want to do things because we don't want to let ourselves down and let somebody else down. But it really starts on the promises that you say to yourself that you don't keep. And that shapes your perception as well. Number seven, embrace change. Change is a natural part of life. Instead of resisting, try to embrace it as an opportunity for growth and learning. You know, a lot of people don't like change, but change is an evolution thing in the world, the way we work. Look what happened to COVID. A lot of people do a lot of remote work. So we have to embrace this change and look at the opportunities with them and grow. Practice empathy. Try to put yourself in other people's shoes and understand their perspective and feelings. This can foster better relationships and reduce judgment. Number nine, journaling. Keeping a journal can help you process your thoughts and emotions. It can also provide a record of your journey towards changing your perception, right? Uh, some of us are in the financial space or do financial coaching and stuff. We tell people, listen, write it down. We want to know this journey that you're going through because there's some emotional ties to it. And sometimes we have to disconnect our emotions so this way we can go on the right path. Or sometimes we have to recognize our emotions. And that's why we journal things. And then the last thing, number 10, is learn from your mistakes. Instead of dwelling on mistakes, view them as opportunities to learn and improve. Reflect on what you can do differently next time. Remember, changing your perception is a gradual process and it's okay to take small steps. Over time, these small changes can lead to a significant shift in how you view the world and your place in it. Right, guys? I'm going to say it one more time. Remember, changing your perception is a gradual, a slow process, and it's okay to take small steps. Over time, these small changes can lead to a significant shift in how you view the world and your place in it. So, guys, hopefully you took something from it. If at least one thing, hopefully you took one thing away.